Come on, Kale.
In this video, I'm going to be discussing Kale's story because I think it's important to understand that Ajax is not special. Kale is just as chill as he is.
Come on.
And leading up to just what's going on in the video, which really isn't important, um, Kale was basking on his own enclosure and he started walking across Ajax's enclosure over to the Ackie enclosure. So I intervened there to help him get over to the Ackie enclosure. But the video is not important,
Come on.
but I tell Kale's story while I'm filming all of this. So I'm going to stop recording over this right now and just listen to the video.
See, he's sticking his hemi pins out. He's probably about to mark. Yeah, there he goes. He's marking. Okay, so this is Kale. Remember I made that video showing Ajax going over to Kale's enclosure and marking over there? Well, here's Kale marking all over the Ackie enclosure. You see his drag and his vent? Watch. And then there's the hemipenes. And he'll drag it. Watch how he'll put it on the light. And they do a lot of this like tongue flicking like on whatever they're doing it to. It's probably because he's smelling Ajax. But watch, so he'll press. Oh, he's gonna rest right now. But you'll see when he moves around again, he'll probably start doing it. He's just gonna chill. You're okay, Cal. That was just Ajax over here. But yeah, so these two dudes are just locked in this endless battle of this is mine. No, it's mine. We can see Kale's just as chill as Ajax. So I don't show it in my video as much. I'm gonna try to start getting more Kale videos because he's just as chill as Ajax, and he'll come to me. Most of the time it's just I'm just always worried about messing up the interaction with him, so I'm focusing more. So I usually just don't get a lot of videos of him. So the reason I try to be careful with Kale, I mentioned this a couple times, is because Kale he's a wild caught animal. I got Kale when he was like I thought he was around 4 months, but he might have been 5 or 6 months. I'm not sure. I got him from a store. So Ajax I bought off of Morph Market from a reputable breeder. I got Kale. I think it was 2 or 3 months later after I already had Ajax, and it was because I was at a local store here where I live, and I was getting cork tubes or crickets or something, and he had all these tree monitors sitting in this little glass enclosure. It was a really, really small, like 2 feet by like 1 foot glass tank, and it was just paper towel on the bottom, a water dish, and then like a stack of like these little wood planks, and there were five of them in there, and there was a really big one, and then there was Kale was like the second largest one, and there were these three small ones around the same size, and Kale was about Ajax's size, and I impulse bought him. It was stupid, and I literally I asked this guy. I said, "Are these captive bred?" I didn't know shit. I didn't know that people would like lie to you about that type of thing. Like I knew you always wanted captive bred, but so I asked him, and he goes, yeah. And I remember I said, "What do they come?" Because like it's in a store, so I was like, "What does it come from? Like a local breeder or something?" Because I was gonna like be like, "Oh, well, who's the guy?" Yada yada. You know what I mean? But he's like, "Yeah," and like I didn't notice it at the time, but when I was driving home, the way he said like, "Oh yeah, they're captive bred," was just iffy to me, right? Come to find out, this is like a known importer on like Morph Market. Their local store is literally here in my city, and they ship from here all over the United States. So he's 100%. He's farm raised. That's what their site says. When I went to their site afterwards, they call it farm raised. Whenever you hear that, that's wild. He was out in the wild. Some guy went out and grabbed him, put him in a bag, and then shipped him here. So I'm really lucky this dude's even alive. When I first got him, the very first day, I put him in here for quarantine. Before the Ackie was in here, before this enclosure was built up, I just had paper towels in there, and I put a bunch of stuff for him to like hide behind and stuff. But he was in here. He went to the bathroom the first day. He had parasites. Like I could see him in his in his feces. But I'd already fallen in love with him on just the short ride home. You know, I'm driving and I'm looking over at him sitting in his little cup, little plastic cup. So there was no, the thought never crossed my mind to go back. I was so pissed. That's when I did a bunch of research on like the store and found out that they're an import. Uh, but I didn't care. And the other thing was like he was a lot cheaper than Ajax was, obviously. But that's another thing that told me that he's for sure from the wild. And plus, you could just tell by his behavior was different. So I took him to the vet, and they did check up on him. They said he's not like, you know, it's nothing life threatening. He's okay. He does have those parasites. They gave me something to give him, and I gave it to him for, I don't even remember the time, something like a month, several weeks. But anyway, so then I took him back and we checked him again, and he was totally clear. I asked if I could move him into the other one, and they said I could. I also asked, you know, if for sure everything's gone. They said yes. There's no eggs in there. There's not even eggs in there. I asked if I could give him another dose, like if it would harm him if I gave him another dose, and they said no. So I actually gave him another dose after he was already in there with Ajax as well. But ever since then, he moved in with Ajax, and they were super chill with each other until about a year old. And well, first of all, it was about when they got put together, they were about 3 months old, and they were fine. Uh, Again, Kale might have been a little older. After a couple of months, that's when I had witnessed both of them extend their hemipenes. So you know it was clear that they were both males, and so I had planned to separate them eventually, but there wasn't any problems. They shared space. They never ran each other off. Sometimes when they were coming through and they would like just walk over each other, the other one would spook a little bit and, you know, just short dart off. But that settled down, and like they literally had no problems with each other. They used to sleep with each other all the time. Like Kale would go to bed, and then when Ajax went to bed, oh, the mister's going. So that we saw Kale was like, "What the fuck's that?" But Kale would go to bed, and then Ajax would literally, when he went to bed, he would go from like hide to hide looking for where Kale was, and then crawling with Kale. So they were really chill with each other up to about a year. They started claiming space. Like if one was coming to the light and the other one was already there, he would run him off so that he could be there. Like they started to get a little territorial with each other. So I ended up separating them after seeing that a couple times. I was more worried that Ajax was going to get the shit kicked out of him because he was the one punking Kale, and Kale's always been bigger than him. But they're not biting each other. They're not scratching. It's just they just dart at each other, and then the other one would run away. And if they caught him, they would do this thing. It almost looks sexual to me, but like I'm not a breeder, so I don't know exactly what that looks like. But they would like, you know, kind of pin them and like push their snout like into their back. So to me, it looked like some type of sexual display. Like maybe they were just coming into sexual maturity, and you know they didn't realize that each other, you know, weren't females. You know what I mean? But I didn't like it, and it was interfering with, you know, the calming and the training I was putting these guys through. So I separated them, and now I try not to let them ever see each other, because when they see each other, they perk right up, puff up, like they 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 do not like each other now. So their only interaction these days is smelling each other on these lights or other things around the living room that they like, and uh, you know, marking out their territory. They're just in this endless battle of you know, claiming territory around the living room. So I got really lucky with Kale, you know, that he is fine and he's healthy, and you know he was able to, you know, come to this same state that I have Ajax in. But you know, that could have gone a very different way. Like, you know, Kale could have died, and you know, I hate that I gave money to these people. Like if I gave you the name, you would be able to look them up, and all you'd see is people complaining about animals coming with parasites, animals dying like a couple days after they get them, and like these people like they don't even refund or they don't even respond when you try to get in contact with them. So I hate that I gave these assholes money, but I look at it as I probably saved this dude's life, and I love this guy, so I'm happy with the result. So, anyways, that's Kale's story. He's a little wild boy, but get him young enough, you can still turn it around, and Kale is the proof of it. I also wanted to tell Kale's story in detail like this because when I first started putting videos on Reddit, like about almost a year ago, showing how Ajax, jumps to me and how he's so calm and like I had like total control over him around the living room. Like I would get these responses from people like, "Oh, these guys are super flighty. You got really lucky with this. You got a really social tree monitor," and that bothers me more than anything because it has nothing to do with the fact that Ajax not special. Here's Kale. He's the same exact way. The only difference between Kale and Ajax is the acceptance percentage I have, and it's not that big of a difference. I can always get him to come to me eventually. And I can't like cue him to like jump to me. Sometimes I can get him to jump to me, but it's not like the immediate response that Ajax has, and that's only because Kale's never been through the ladder conditioning I did, and that was probably like 80% of the behavioral conditioning that I ran Ajax through. I mean, it was hundreds of jumps over like a couple month period, and Kale's literally never had any of that. So that's literally the only difference. Ajax is not special in any way. These guys are naturally really curious and really social, and it's mainly that curiosity that everything I do is built around weaponizing that curiosity against them to get them to interact with you. And if you go back and listen to all my videos from the beginning, you'll see it more clearly. Like I know as you're going step through step through the videos as they're coming out, it's you're getting an idea of like how it's building on each other. But if you were to go back and look at the beginning again, or just go watch the ladder video again, it'll make so much more sense to you. Oh, okay, now I see what's going on here. It's literally the animals that were curious of me, and that's what led to all this. And I think that they're so curious like that because I think they're probably one of the smarter, even within the monitor family. I think that these guys are way up there because here's an animal that has something others don't, a prehensile tail. It's another tool. So imagine like the cognitive differences between them and other monitors having that additional tool that they use to do different things. And these guys use their hands to like pull things out of crevices and holes. They are crazy smart, and I think the fact that they are that smart leads to people thinking that they're more flighty. That's not it. It's just it takes more effort on your part to get them safe and secure, feeling safe and secure. And then that curiosity is going to come out, and they will literally ask you for that interaction because they understand that they're in captivity. But you can see here that Kale's running about 100 degrees, so he's going off. Let's see what he's gonna do. Well, here, I'll show you. So I'll show you like the type of stuff that I do. So like here, I help him. All along this chain are pretty good times for me to try to offer to get him to come back to me. So I'll try one of those and see if he takes it. Rebuffed. But see, it's not a big deal. You just wait for another opportunity, and I'll probably make another video about like the best times to be injecting, but I know along this route the best places that you want to inject on them. So I'll just wait for another one of those moments and then try again. And if he doesn't accept that, I'll wait for the next moment. But he's gonna come over here, then he's gonna come down here, and then he's gonna cross this and be over here. So here I can try here. You see how easy that is? And so now I can just go and put Kale up. So you see, Ajax is not special. I can control Kale just as much as him. It's basically it's their curiosity that you're weaponizing against them, and over time they'll end up like this.